religion? It is belief, it is love, it is power. Religion is a divisive force that has been used for good, but also for evil. The Second Great Awakening displays the transforming force of faith and divine can have on American citizens. Throughout this movement, new ways of practicing religion emerged, and entire denominations were created. One thing is certain, in a period of less than 50 years, the religious landscape of the United States changed irreversibly.
The Second Great Awakening was a Protestant revival movement that began in the U.S. in the 1790s and lasted until about the 1830s. This spiritual resurgence came about to a decreased role of religion in people's daily lives. Many people had stopped attending church services due to a lack of belief in former common ideals such as predestination and God's role in everyday life. Others were too busy trying to make a living to have time for worship. As a result, many faiths sponsored religious revivals that emphasized human dependence on God. These revivals took an especially strong hold in the Northeast and Midwest, and also strongly appealed to women and African Americans.
Revivalism was a time of spiritual revival that shaped the nature and spirit of American religion. One of the more prominent aspects of revivalism was the introduction of camp meetings. These meetings were held to lead hundreds of people to convert to new Christian religions through lively forms of preaching and connecting with a large audience at emotional and intimate levels. During this time, churches stepped away from traditional Christian practices, and the idea of free will was seen more important for salvation.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah! Mormonism was the predominant religious tradition of the Latter-day Saint movement of Restorationist Christianity during the Second Great Awakening. Joseph Smith founded the movement of Mormonism in the 1820s in western New York. Smith claimed to have been instructed by God to find golden plates which were written by an indigenous American prophet. He then translated these plates into the Book of Mormon, which he used to found the Church of Christ in 1830, where the movement grew in size and followers. Smith was assassinated in 1844, and the church was left without a leader until Brigham Young and the Quorum of 12, a governing body in the church hierarchy under the First Presidency, took control.
Joseph, my dear, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just reading the book I found in the field.
How did you find it in a field?
Oh, an angel told me where to look.
An angel?
Yeah, you see, this book is all about the true message of Jesus Christ, expressed in a New Testament of the Bible.
Wow, so incredible.
So I am proud to welcome you both as new members of the Church of Christ.
Thank you so much. I am so glad to be spreading the true religion. But I've noticed ever since I converted, I've been insulted, ridiculed, harassed, beaten, stabbed, shot, and hanged. I'm starting to think people might not like us.
Oh, fear not, for soon we shall found a new Zion, where we will be free to worship as we will. Well, that didn't work out so well, but I've got a good feeling about Illinois. Oh,
What
Emma!
are you doing?
No, it's not what it looks like. Just give me a chance to explain. Here, I really got to talk
You
to her.
deceitful liar.
No, Emma. You see, you don't understand. Here.
Joseph, I am so tired of all of this. You're going around with that woman like she's your wife.
Well, actually, she is my wife.
What?
Here, it's all in this book. If you just read through it, you'll see what it is.
I don't care about...
Okay, darling. The important thing isn't how many wives I have. The important thing is that when we die, we'll go to our own world, where we can rule forever as man and wife.
What about your other wife?
You know, that's a good question. I actually have not thought about that.
Who is that?
Oh, that's no one. And that must be number 4.
Joseph Smith, you are under arrest for riot incitation.
Oh, that's it. I'm going to Oregon.
You're coming with us.
Well, at least I know in this country I'll have a fair trial.
All right, perfect.
Lead well, Brigham. Do as I would have.
Well, I guess it's up to me now.
Advent movement began toward the end of the Second Great Awakening when William Miller, a Baptist preacher, began studying the Bible in depth, specifically the book of Daniel. He came to the assumption that Jesus would return on October 22, 1844. Miller gained a following of believers called Millerites throughout the 1830s and early 1840s as they got ready for the rapture. When Jesus did not return, it was known as the Great Disappointment. Miller still retained a small following, and this group eventually evolved into what is now known as Seventh-day Adventists.
Today's the day that Jesus is coming.
Men led most of the major religious movements, it is important that the role of women not be discounted. No religious sect had women as official preachers, but they did play major roles as spokespeople and promoters and made up the majority of converts. African Americans also played a major role. Methodism and Baptism sought converts among both slaves and their owners. Exclusively black Baptist churches existed, albeit under strong white supervision, but until Richard Allen, who founded the African Methodist Episcopal Church, there were no official black Methodist preachers. However, many other blacks managed to gain important roles within the organization, such as Harry Hoosier, who was a popular speaker among both races.
The Second Great Awakening was a reaction against skepticism, deism, and rationalism popular among many Baptists and Methodists. It laid the ground for many reform movements. These antebellum reforms were reforms in temperance, women's rights, abolitionism, as well as many religious changes. There was a drift from Calvinist beliefs in predestination and a greater focus on free will. There was a more optimistic view on the human condition as salvation was open to all. Women gained greater public roles, and Christianity became open to African Americans as well. Religious groups were reformed and new ones were created, such as the Disciples of Christ and Mormonism.
The Second Great Awakening depicts what can happen when passion and religious doctrine are combined, and its legacy still lives today.